Evening, everybody. Welcome to the Town of Ledyard Inland Wetland Water Courses Commission meeting of Tuesday, April 5th, 2022. Start the meeting time 7:01. Secretary, please call the roll.
Justin DeBro,
Present.
Dan Peeler,
Absent.
Paul Mogul,
Present.
Beth Reeby, Lynn Marie Thompson,
Excused.
Corey Wakeford. Yep, there he is there. Glenn Graver. Lisa Gill.
Present. Move on. Go to public comments. Everybody here from the public who wishes to offer public comments. All right, if you are participating online, if you're not speaking, would you please mute your microphone? All right. Moving on, old business. We have no old business to discuss tonight. We'll start off with a new business. Our first application is IWWC application number 22-4 as of right for 101 Sandy Hollow Road. It is owned by the city of Groton. The applicant of Connwood Foresters in Rockfall, Connecticut for as of right timber harvest.
Oh, sorry about being
Show
late.
us 703. Mr. Ledyard. So, do you like to come up?
Do you want me to wait for him to sit down?
Well, our meeting's already in progress. Let's just keep
Okay.
going.
My name is Peter Lemerys. I'm with Conwood Foresters, and I'm working as agent for Groton Utilities in the city of Groton on a timber harvest on 66 acres from Sandy Hollow Road. There are no wetlands on the property, and we will be harvesting about 16% of the trees. This is an improvement harvest. This area has been logged in the past, and we're in there a second time to get rid of some of the storm damaged trees, birch trees that have nectaria canker, beech trees, others along the same idea, to improve the quality of what's growing there on the stand. We have a number of sites where we're gonna be having the log landings. They're all on Groton Utilities roads that they have through the property. So we're not constructing any new roads, and we're not crossing any wetlands. We're gonna stay at least 100 feet from the reservoir at all times. That's required by Groton Utilities anyways, with any of the timber harvests on the properties. So again, this is just a selective harvest, and it will go out to bid, and Conwood Foresters will be monitoring the harvest, as well as the Groton Utilities crew that they have out there doing their surveillance on the property at all times.
When do you expect to begin?
As the bids are put out, as soon as it's accepted by the town, or I should say the city, I'm not sure how long that will take. But after it's accepted, it depends on the logger who purchase it as to when they will start. They may start, a day after it's accepted. They may start, there's a 17th month contract that we're looking to put out so that we don't have to have them in there during wet season and muddying up the roads. So anytime between after it's accepted and 17 months.
Any questions, comments, concerns?
Hello. Yes, I'd like to know who's the forester in charge?
Peter Lemerys
Excuse me.
at Conwood Foresters. The
Okay.
license is 60.
Yes, I see that. You're a certified forester. So would you be there all the way through the harvest, or will you just be initially and then after the bids, let them go and do it, or periodically stopping in and checking out?
We'll be there at least once a week. Hopefully more as I work in the area. But Groton does have 2 surveillance people that drive the property every day, watching over things.
Great. Will all the wood be removed from the property after you finish? And how long do you expect the harvest to last?
Well, again, it's going to be a 17-month contract. It can last up to 17 months. Once they get started, it will probably be 3 or 4 months. Will all the wood be removed? The tops will be locked down to 4 feet, not necessarily removed. That, again, that depends on the one purchasing, because if it's somebody that wants a whole lot of firewood, then it will be removed. But with the way things have been with all the dead oak in the area, firewood hasn't been moving all that well, so the tops kind of stay in most places right now.
Has NRCS been involved in this at all?
No, this is all just Groton Utilities. There's no public funding other than it's Groton Utilities that it's doing it.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
I just asked, before you start, come notify the town.
Yes.
And then, of course, again, after any extended breaks.
Now, who do I notify in the town?
IWWC,
Okay,
or
yeah,
we may have a wetlands official by then.
yeah, that's what I was asking.
If not,
Okay, no problem.
all right, so
In my report, I noted there were other conditions that they offered in the narrative. In addition to monitoring weekly, not logging not to occur during periods of wet soil conditions, and then, upon completion of the operations, there'll be some work to smooth out the landing areas and whatnot.
so tell me what you presented.
Yeah, that's common practice with most logging jobs.
All right, so no other questions, comments, concerns. Looking for a motion to classify this as a use of right. Say in our regulations. See to do it's time 7:03.
Oh, okay.
So do I have any motion to classify this as a use of right?
I so move it to let them allow them to do their wood cutting.
Motion by Mr. Mogul. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Feeler. All in favor?
Aye.
All are in favor. All right. Next, we need a motion to approve the as of right timber harvest.
I shall move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
By Mr. Mogul. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All are in favor. Please approve. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Yeah.
Going in order. We are going. All right, next on new business is IWWC application number 22-5, Upland review area permit for 2 Kalmia Drive in Gales Ferry with the owner of Parkinson, same address. Apply for a new shed and pool. So it's in-ground pool and shed installed backyard pool of 648 square feet and 240 square foot shed. Sorry.
Yes, that's me. So yeah, an 18 by 36 in-ground pool, and then a shed accompanying it, kind of gonna be used as a pool house, so to speak. There will be a patio around the pool as well. And then just looking to put it in, we did begin work on it in the fall because I received building and zoning approval, but then when I went back, the wetlands came up, so we're trying to go through the process now to obviously move forward with the project whenever you guys deem it as a possibility, and willing to work with you on any sort of kind of mitigation you need me to do throughout the process or with it if necessary.
Question I had just looking over this stuff here is looking at your map, the one you provided here with the application, this guy here. So and then comparing that to the town website using our wetland layers, it doesn't, the wetlands don't seem to match up between what's showing on the GIS.
Okay.
Wetland layers on our town website and what you have on your map.
Okay.
So we went back and we took a look at from the original building application also, which says we got delineated by a Mark Sullivan, a certified soil scientist, but we don't have any signatures of it. I don't know, is there wetlands flagged on your property?
I'm not sure what would that look like. Yeah,
Okay, so it'd be just little marker flags.
I don't think so, but
Orange flags?
they could be. I'd have to walk through the woods and spot them, but
Does anybody else have any other questions, comments, concerns here on this application?
Good.
as I like to go rest.
Mr. Chairman, may I
Easy
make
way.
a comment? So, I mean, this is a tricky situation because you've got an approval.
Mhm.
But the maps don't jive and there's no
Mhm.
live signature or any signature on any of the, I went back to the subdivision maps just to see how there could be such a discrepancy.
Mhm.
That map doesn't have clear wetlands flagging or, usually there's information that's provided on a map like that. And when you have a situation where this map, the surveyor's map, doesn't match the official wetlands map, then an amendment is made, and that's a whole other process. Now, obviously, that was before your time buying the property.
Correct,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
saying that you did not do this,
Mhm.
but that was not done, is all I'm saying. And so we're left with the situation of, if I look at the wetlands layer in the town, your whole house and the entire pool is directly within the wetland and not in the upland review area at all. So I understand that the house was built and an approval was given for something based on, and you have it, and, you had a right to start, you based your actions on
Right, on what,
the
the information I
official's
received, right.
review, but now that you're coming in to change it, now there's a different,
Mhm.
now we're seeing like,
Right,
what's
I
going
understand.
on here. So I'm gonna leave it up to the commission, but unless Peter has, the surveyor has additional information maybe about those, when that flag, a report from the soil scientist, something about
Mhm.
that clearly shows when it was flagged and, but given the date of this subdivision, that's 2020 or 2000, that's, over 20 years ago, so.
Mhm. My home was built in 2000. I mean, we purchased in 2017 as a new construction. So I don't know
When was your
started
house
on
built?
it. 2017, we purchased as a new construction, July of 2017. John Major was the builder.
Right, so I don't know if John has any information either, but
Yeah.
it's just, it's
We're
up to
asked-
you whether
we're
that's.
asked-
the
Mhm.
flag.
Still building in the area.
Yeah,
I would definitely want to know what it was that the soil scientist found with regards to the property. Unfortunately, due to what the current map shows, it makes things very difficult. And of course, the current GIS map isn't the perfect
Mhm.
reflection of what the actual ground conditions are in a location. And really, that's what the soil scientist's job would be, to
Mhm.
clarify that. If we can find out what the soil scientist's report on your property is, that gives us a much better idea of what exactly can be done.
Flag wetlands in that particular area
Mhm.
is what I would have recommended,
Yeah.
just because you could conceivably be in them.
Right. No, I understand.
So like, unless anybody has another opinion here, I'd recommend we just table this for decision tonight. And then in the meantime, if you come up with,
What would you advise I do moving forward? Right, yeah.
for right now, we're gonna meet every month. We'll be the first
Mhm.
Tuesday again next month. So in the meantime, if you could have, talk to the original builder or anybody else that might have maps
Mhm.
to find a more defined wetland boundary.
Okay,
So like we have, the map you provide here, but it doesn't give a measured boundary, just a depiction.
Mhm.
So which is different than what we have coming off the GIS that are on our web.
Right.
So we're just looking for a well-defined wetland boundary, and we can make a decision based on that. It's like whether you're in the wetlands in the upland review area
Mhm.
to decide whether to go forward.
Okay, so would you, and again, you guys are the experts, that's just why I'm asking the questions, where, in terms of trying to get that defined wetland boundary, would the builder of the home be a good person to contact? Would he be
Yeah,
kind
you
of the
talked
first
to him
contact I should
in
make?
the other page that we had here from the original building. All right, just did
Mhm.
Mr. hold on a second, I can hand this page sheet here.
Okay.
Here tonight.
Snarky, I think it was.
Mark Sullivan.
Oh, no, it was-
Item number 4 here on this list, you have that.
In other words, since you're not coming in with a formal site plan like you would for your house
Mhm.
or for a subdivision, we haven't accepted a stamped plan from a surveyor
Mhm.
attesting to the conditions.
Right.
And so the only plan we have is over 20 years old.
Right.
With no signature from the soil scientist and no
Right.
map revision that was done,
Mhm.
because it wouldn't have matched the town wetland map back then either, so.
Okay. So we're not, so, and is this, and again, I'm sorry, I'm asking so many questions, I just want to try to get my ducks in a row here, because like I said, we're already in the ground and a lot of money invested in what we've done already.
Understand.
And, obviously, I wasn't trying to skirt any permit rules, and we got the approval,
I
and
appreciate that. The paragraph you're-
yeah, I was trying to make sure I fully explained the situation, because I'm sure it looks like I was trying to do that, but I wasn't. And so are you saying with this, a soil sample was done, you just don't have the information here from it?
We don't have the
Basically.
official document that defines it, so.
Okay,
you know,
right,
We have something signed by the soil scientist. We have-
by Mark,
like on the
and that's Mark
official building
Sullivan, right?
So you could have any soil scientist come out and flag the wetlands in the area that
Mhm.
you're, I would assume that you would accept that.
Yeah.
Instead of,
map.
not necessarily the whole wetlands area, but the area
At
that
least,
you're
at least
working.
in proximity to where we were doing work, yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, right now, we're looking between two different maps.
Mhm.
They're just depictions. There's no measurements afforded either one.
Mhm. And so we have to clearly so he potentially would need to come out and just clearly define where the wetlands are,
Yeah, and then
For
if
you
you bring
guys.
us a measured map.
and then I could bring it back to. Okay,
And with the measured map, we have a better idea of what can be done
Right.
going forward.
where I fall in the upland review, so to speak, area, and whatever I can do.
Because even in your map, you're pretty close.
Right, no, I'm where I'm within the 100 feet, and that was, and again, like I said, in the fall, it didn't come up, we would pause right there.
Right,
obviously.
so within 100 feet, it's acceptable. We would
Right, you just have to
go
go
approve something
through
like that.
this
but
process, right?
We just need to understand where that boundary is.
Okay, so I will get to work on that as soon as I can, and hopefully you guys will hear from me in about a month.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys, and I apologize for. I'm sorry, what?
That's the
Oh, okay, thank you.
Moving on, next item. IWWC application number 22-6, another upland review area permit at 1954 Center Groton Road, Ledyard. The owner is Brendon Coen, the applicant agent, here Gardner, 4112 West Ferry, upland review permit for a new single-family residence with garage. We are looking at a new 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom residence with garage, then you have 100-foot upland review area, no activity to be had in the wetlands. 1.5 acre site.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. I'm here. Pete couldn't be here. My son's not here. I'm representing my son. I think there's a letter in the file where I can act on his behalf. My son's looking to build a 2-bedroom apartment with a garage below it on 1954 Center Groton Road. The address is a little deceiving. The actual property is on Colonel Ledyard Highway, or most of it's on Colonel Ledyard Highway. It doesn't even touch Center Groton Road, but that is the given address. We've had, we had a survey completed. We had Ian Cole came out and did the wetlands delineation, and he wrote a report in February. And then when we developed the site plan, he wrote a second report based on the, once the site plan was developed. I wasn't sure, as I was dealing with Nancy over the last couple of days, she's been great, actually, I've driven her crazy. Whether this was an application to conduct activity in the upland review area, or if it was a true application. I didn't want to come up short on that and have to lose another meeting. I do have an upland review application, if that's what you choose. So I'm going to leave that up to the commission. We're proposing no work in the wetland. I've actually retained Ian to come visit the site as we get it under construction until it's stabilized.
Ms. Hunter, I know you had some comments on this.
All right, so I know that the assessor has deemed it unbuildable, but, Mark and I agree that it's not really the place of an assessor to deem it unbuildable. That's the job of planning and zoning, or maybe in some cases wetlands commission, but it's the two are separate. So I have to deal with that on a separate basis, but I think it was deemed unbuildable because there's so many wetlands on the property. What I am more concerned about is, okay, the way this property is now, and you probably should go walk it. There, it comes off the road and just, you know, there's a dip first, right, isn't there?
Well, it drops significantly off. We're gonna,
But in all across. So my concern, Mark, is, I don't know how to point to things. My glasses, not so I can't see anything.
Yeah, this is the pointer is not.
But- So right now, it kind of sheet flows this way across. All the way across here is the same, you know, topography, and then it just sort of flows down. When you regrade this, the way you're showing it, now you're gonna, you know, send two waterfalls down in those 2 points versus it sheet flowing down nicely. So the water's gonna go around the
it's just
house.
gonna be graded off to the sides. It's,
Right, but what's, I'm just looking at what's showing. So it's, the water's gonna come off the road or whatever it does, come around those and just right into the portions of the wetlands that are literally close to here. And I'm also concerned about this drain. If you bring that up and level it out, what happens to the water that's coming out of that drain pipe?
we're not gonna, because Ian and Peter went over that. And that outfall, which is what collects a lot of the fairgrounds water in certain parking areas, comes down through there at certain times and high level rains and everything. And they're gonna grade, it's graded so that it stays and continues to go flow.
Okay, it's not exactly what's showing, that's all. Sort of showing it flattening out right there.
I mean, Peter and Ian worked that out. I had to rely on them to make sure that that was not gonna be an issue.
So those were my concerns. I haven't had a chance to really go out there or anything, but. We do have a wetlands person available at this point that could review this as well.
I had some of the concerns you had at least. Do you have any other questions, comments, concerns from members of our commission?
We did do test holes with ledge light. I'm sorry to interject here. We did do test holes with ledge light. And I think in the file, you'll see that when they ran city water, the city of Groton through Ledyard ran city water down Colonel Ledyard Highway 117, they did leave a curb stop with this lot purposely.
I saw you had that noted on the map also.
Yeah.
How would
So,
you run
I mean-
sewage? How would you run sewage here? I mean, are you gonna put a septic system in here or what is?
Yes,
going
the
to?
septic system is on site and it's on that plan that's on the screen right now. It's a 1,000-gallon tank with a Mantis primary septic and a GST reserve system.
Okay, so it's a hybrid system then? It's a surface system? Or is it
It is a
below
sur-
ground?
It's a gravity surface system, correct?
Gravity surface, okay.
There is no, we're not pumping, we're not doing anything.
Hmm.
Like I say, ledge light was out there. We did 5 test holes. And then ledge light did 2 perk tests, and the perk tests were 1 in 10. So
Very good, yeah.
that data,
When were they done?
it's on the map, I think. I don't have the map in front of me, but I think it's probably. I know the test holes were done one day and the perk tests were done the following day.
March 1st.
When's that?
March 1st for the perk tests, and March 22nd for the test pits.
Again, I think what threw everybody off was the fact that the assessor's card deemed it unbuildable. And, you know, I built over the past 30 years, probably on 15 lots that were deemed unbuildable until either city water, city sewer, city gas, a number of the utilities come by and they make it, you know, obviously, you know, it's not an ideal hayfield, but this is a great use of a, you know, 1.5 acre parcel. And I will be glad to offer to the commission that at all 14 points, we'll put conservation, Ledyard conservation stickers up, as we've done in the past. We're showing a row of hay bales with a row of silt fence to back it up as a, you know, a secondary means of, just to keep everybody. And like I said, I've asked Ian, you know, I'm paying Ian to come back and, you know, check and make sure that everything is, so that we don't have any issues, you know, downstream.
Showing construction access from the proposed driveway. Also, who else saw? Yeah, construction entrance on there.
So if I may approach for 1
Yes.
second. Move this to the, just so you get an idea, a real-time shot. So this is 117. This is Connwood Highway, it's right here. The one thing that Ian explained to me when he was out there was the true corridor of wetland and wildlife is really out here. This, you can see the outline. The soils define the true wetland as your regulations. But he said, this is really your core wildlife area that you're trying to protect. But you also have to protect the wetland itself, the soil type wetland.
Yeah, and his report was pretty specific on where they are.
Yeah,
As they just, like Ms. Hyde, my concern is still, like, what is gonna be the effect on the wetland as we change the flow of water coming into them?
yeah, I think his second report probably speaks to that more than, the first one just talks about the generic delineation. The second one speaks specifically to the site plan. And again, that's why I hired a professional to do it.
Yeah.
I'm also curious how it's only 0.16 acres of
sorry?
disturbance. How is it only 0.16 acres of upland area altered if you're regrading 90% of it?
60 by 100, approximately 60 by 100 is 6,000 square feet into 43,580.
What is this area?
That's
That's
what I'm
gotta be more than
saying.
one.
Came up about 6,000 square feet, give or take, because you can't count out here, you can't. So that's why I try to do a rough calculation, that asked for it in acres. So you had to take basically 60, because and then by about 100.
What is this distance?
Hmm?
This is more than 60 feet. Here, correct?
The property line is here, it's asking for the disturbance.
Right, so starting here to here, how long is that?
I don't have the ruler, I mean, it's a 20 scale, so I mean, what do you think that is, 40 feet? I just calculated it's about 60 feet from front to back, from property line to the back of the building, and then 100 feet. And then you lose a little bit on the angles, and then I had to divide it by 43,000 by 60. That's where the 0.16 came from.
All right.
Yes, we just received this one yesterday in the office, right?
This would be
Yeah,
on
proceed
the
to-
floor.
4-4.
On the floor, right?
I think, unless everybody has a different opinion, I'd recommend give staff an opportunity to review this a little bit more. Is it, you all don't know, we got a representative from Southeast Council Government's gonna act as our wetland official starting next week. So we'll have some wetlands professional support.
No. No.
Not hearing anything else, just table this discussion until next meeting. Where staff here gives some,
I'm sorry?
we're gonna table this until our next meeting, give our staff.
Yeah, but it's been accepted, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. No problem.
I'm gonna let the Council of Governments,
That's it.
I'm gonna let the official wetlands enforcement.
Who's the
person
new guy?
Look at it. He's from the Council of Governments. I think it's Justin.
Will he get a hold of me and Ian? No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in tonight.
See you next month.
I'll call
She'll be here.
Bye. Have a great evening.
Wow.
All right, continuing on, last item in new business tonight. And we see application number 22-7, another upland review permit for 2837 Route 12. Ledyard, owners of Robert and Fawn Kleemann for an upland review permit of a new single family residence and a deck. So we are constructing a 10-foot by 32 addition and a 10 by 20 deck within the 100-foot upland review area. It's on a 1.44 acre site, within about 10,000 square feet of wetlands. Mr. Kleemann?
Yeah, so we purchased the property, and the house that's on there now is 960 square feet. It's a 1920s home initially, or was built in the 20s. We initially had planned on doing more of a remodel, and upon further inspection, it's got 2x4 roof rafters, 2x3 walls. We're basically tearing it down to the foundation and rebuilding it to get it up to modern code. And because it's only 960 square feet, we do realize we don't have a lot of room to work with, but we're trying to add 10 feet on the back just to get a little more square footage, and we're finishing off partial the basement to get some more square footage out of it. And then also the additions going on the back, which is the direction that has probably the least disturbance or the most room to try to do something.
So those activity here, it's a little bit more than just construction of an addition.
Sorry.
So an application here, it's listed as construction of an addition.
Oh. Right. Well, yeah, it's more than that, yeah. It's replacing, the foundation's in though for the house. So it's reconstructing the house on the existing foundation. And adding the addition on a new foundation. I assume that's foundation.
Yeah, we're gonna add 10 feet on the back of the foundation, but reuse the original foundation on the original footprint.
So the only disturbed area of soil would be the roughly 322 square feet. That would be the new foundation plus a small amount around that.
Yes,
What are you doing with the soil that you removed for the new foundation? Did you dig out that hole?
we were planning on, not on the wetland side, but towards the other neighbors, just filling into the hill to grade the hill a little bit more. It can be removed if you deem that's a better option. So like, so not, I guess it would be south, so on the south side of the rear yard.
That would be okay on this side.
Yeah.
You've got that little area in the middle.
Yeah,
That again, doesn't show on the GIS map, this is properly flagged,
Yeah.
it's wetland, so if you're putting it over here.
Yeah,
yeah, it'd be going
on the other side.
to the direction away from the wetlands.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Does this change the septic system that you have in it at all? Or are you going to leave the septic system the same as you have now?
We're actually installing a new septic system. What's in there now is basically a cesspool, or not very good, and that's in the rear yard now. We're putting the new septic system in the driveway or underneath the driveway, which is also going to be away from the wetlands in reference to the house. So it'll be as far from the wetlands as we can install it.
Do you have a well there as well?
It's actually city water.
City water?
So where's the, do you have the 100-foot upland review boundary marked in this map?
Yes.
It's a little dotted line.
Not seeing it?
Look up on the big screen.
You see this arrow here?
Oh, okay.
And then the dotted line there.
So the underground structure that's noted on your map, that's not gonna be touched, it's not gonna be excavated, it's gonna be like one.
The initial foundation, you mean?
No, the root cellar.
Yeah, the root cellar is
That's
also,
staying.
that's staying.
Oh, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we just, like, I can't do this for you, but you can write it in here, just to more completely define what you're doing here in the description on the application
Yeah,
before we move forward with the motion.
okay.
So
So,
that's, kind of things we discussed here, like you're gonna be reconstructing the existing house on the current foundation. Then include the septic, because I do see that's on the map here in the driveway.
yeah,
So we come up right
Yeah,
there.
if you would.
Yep, absolutely.
Everything else, but regulation, but it's just as for when, what homes are responsible for it.
I'm sorry, so what else do I write down? The
It'll be Rebuild
rebuild.
existing structure.
Install new septic system or replace septic system, however you want to do it.
Does that legislate approve that too? Is that gonna be-
Yeah, they have to go through that.
Yeah, we're waiting on final approval. We submitted the application in January. Verbally, they have an agreement between the contractor that's doing and the lady from the health department. We just haven't had the final approval come back yet.
So just to rebuild the existing structure and install the new septic system.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you. So now we have is written construction of a 10-foot by 32.2-foot addition and 10 by 20-foot deck within the 100-foot upper view area. Rebuild the existing structure and install a new septic system. So, recommend, anybody would like to make a motion to approve this contingent on legislative approval?
Well, they, legislate is for us. You can approve it without legislate. We can't zoning wise without legislate, or building can't, but you can.
Okay, so building look how that covered that?
Yeah, we can't sign off until legislate.
Okay, so just a motion to approve. Just for our recommendation.
Given what I've seen here, I move to approve this application.
Just up on the view area.
Yeah,
No
There's
significant impact.
no significant impact, so.
If you need help, we're into that. So
Sorry,
I
I-
actually give us that. Well,
Okay, so
recommendation.
I motion to classify the proposed activity as a regulated activity not having significant impact on wetlands or water courses.
Then the next page is your.
Is that what you would read out?
Yeah, so that's your motion here that we're gonna not be class B, not significant impact.
Class B.
Good. That's a motion by Mr. Baylor. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Mr. Moe, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So that motion- I was looking for second motion here to approve the application.
Okay. I move to approve IWWC 22-7 URA 1837 Route 12 for a new single-family residence addition and deck.
And septic system.
And
Motion by Mr. Baylor. Do we have a second?
second,
Second by Mr. Moe. All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Because they sort of acted as staff to approve that, you have to put the notice in the paper. So
Okay.
you can come check with
Okay.
our office to.
We'll be down tomorrow.
Yeah, how to
We got
do it.
other,
See you tomorrow.
other business as well, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Okay, thank
you.
you.
And then after that notice is issued, there's a 15-day appeal period.
Okay.
Once that's passed, then you can.
Yeah.
move
I'm
forward.
not gonna tell what the format.
Okay, thank you. Have a good night.
Perfect. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank
you.
All right, moving on to Wetlands official report. Is there anything in addition to all your notes on your applications from tonight?
No, we've had slammed with all these applications that boom, boom, right at the end, so, sorry, but I didn't get back to, and I didn't, just stop share.
Okay.
I didn't reach out to that homeowners association yet. I don't know if Tori, did you ever go back out there?
It's over in Pheasant Run. Mr. Wofford.
I'm here.
All right.
Did you ever get back over to Pheasant Run?
I did, and I couldn't go in the back because it was wet and nasty right now. But I am gonna go check it tomorrow because it's dry enough. But I talked to about Nancy said that he hasn't cleaned up the stone wall. yet. But the stone
Okay.
wall it's an opening between this, a little stream that goes between it.
Yeah, so the gentleman, like, we verified he cleaned up his property, like, he came and he spoke to us.
Yep,
And,
and he cleans that, stone wall area every spring and summer, he says.
Yeah, and then the other disturbances that we were looking at were owned by the homeowners association.
Yep, and that's in the back of the stone wall. And now it's dry enough to go back there.
Well, I can bring it to the attention of the wetlands official.
Yes, our new help.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just haven't been willing to assume all of the duties of something that I wasn't hired for.
Yeah.
But now that we have somebody starting, I'll pass that one along, and I'll also have them write that letter to the folks that came in complaining about the flooding. I can't remember the name, Long Cove Road, it was.
Oh, okay.
I'll have them do that as well. It just seems weird coming from me because I'm not a wetlands official, so I'm hesitant to write the letters.
Yeah,
Not really me.
I got no knowledge, so.
Right. So, I'll talk to Justin and see if he'll, Justin from the COG, see if he'll do that for me.
Okay.
But other than that, we didn't get any other applications. Well, we've gotten them all.
Appreciate the many emails in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
New agendas. All right, so do you have any correspondence for this month? None? Announcements, do you have any announcements, staff, commission members? No. All right, well, we have a regular meeting minutes from last month, March 1st. Ready for approval, so if everyone has had the opportunity to review them, take note of any changes you feel necessary. And we are ready. We're looking for a motion to approve or approve with amendments. So I saw your hand raised.
Yes, I'll move to approve, yes.
Motion by Mr. Mogul,
I'll second it.
seconded by Mr. Taylor. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, all are in favor. It's approved. All right, meeting review. I think we ran a pretty efficient meeting tonight.
Nancy could do typing easier if Dan and Paul always motioned and seconded the same way. As the two of you, it seems like, but you always reverse.
Next time.
Let's get some coordination. Joking, of course.
I mean, you could just create two cells in an Excel document and then replace all instances of A with one.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
We're not that advanced.
All right, one thing I would like to add, I would appreciate if everyone could show up, prior to meeting time of 7 o'clock, just help run smoother. Present ourselves a little bit better to the people that came here with applications.
Apologies on that front.
Yeah, thanks. So you can just make an effort. Understand we all have other things going on in our lives too. All right, so with that, looking for a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
All right, motion by Mr. Peeler,
Second.
second by Mr. Vogel. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, meeting adjourned, time 7:45.
Thank you. I thought that was gonna be.
Thank you very much.
Everyone have a good night.
Thank you.
Take care.
These were some really interesting